Okay, so we're still here on the last day of the Influencer Conference 2010, and we are sitting in the presence of a woman who just rocked one of the panels. Okay.
Thank you.
Listen, I am going to let you introduce yourself because you do such a wonderful job, and you just really were so gracious and beautiful in that panel. So,
oh, I appreciate that.
Really
Thank you.
Thank you. You are, and the reason you're here.
My name is Sil Lai Abrams, and I'm an author. I'm an empowerment specialist and a domestic violence awareness advocate. So I'm also a Men's Fitness Magazine's resident relationship expert. So. Yeah, we didn't get to talk about fear in relationships, but I'm sure there'll be another panel for that.
Oh, there should be a whole day for that.
Right.
But until then, can you tell us a little bit about the panel that you were on specifically and why you agreed to even be a part of it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the panel's name was Curing the Crisis of Fear, Being Bold and Decisive. Nice. And we were exploring, examining fear as it pertains to limitations towards moving towards success, and also, more importantly, talking about ways in which we can transcend fear or take action in spite of that. And the reason why I jumped at the chance when Todd had asked me to participate was just because, you know, I see in my work, which is to work trainings and workshops with people in transition, is how often we allow our fears to dictate our actions, and how that prevents us from really living fully and embracing life in a way that is not only inspirational to us but inspirational to others. And so just any opportunity to be able to explore the topic and hopefully offer some type of solution or insight to those who may be struggling with the paralysis was important to me.
So then how do you think, because that's a huge fear, is, like you said, it stops us from achieving our goals. How does an influencer go about addressing fears? Because we all have them, right? So how would someone who's influential, who's usually courageous or whatever, go about addressing those fears and overcoming them? I mean, how do we find that? And,
I was like smirking because the whole idea of influencer, to me, that title, I mean, I get
okay,
it.
let's talk about that. No, let's go there, because I almost saw an eye roll. No, I'm just kidding, so we're going to go there. Okay, so what do you think then about influencers? I mean, is it overblown? Is it a bit misused, overused?
I would say that the term influencer, to me, there's a separation. Okay. It's implying that, I think in terms of leadership, and I understand that to be an influencer, there's, like, in many cases, a de facto leadership that you gain based on your ability to influence and motivate others to take action. But I don't know. I do think it's a very modern term. And I'm off, and that's why I'm smirking to myself. There's no eye roll. Right. It's just the whole idea when I got the invitation to influence, I was like, really? I'm an influencer? I'm like, I write, I love what I do, I'm passionate about my work, I hope to somehow manage to create change in specific communities, so, okay, fine, influencer.
Yeah, it's a great thing. Well, for example, with domestic violence, and I mean, it's a dark area that we struggle with as a nation, some of us as individuals. You certainly, when you walk into that field, you want to change it, you instantly are an influencer. You're influencing people who are less fortunate, who don't have that same kind of strength and focus just yet. How do you go about maintaining that for yourself, and then helping other people to be focused and to find that kind of influencer in them? I mean, how do you do it on a personal level? Because it's got to be somewhat draining, right?
Actually, my work around domestic violence never drains me. I mean, it's something I'm incredibly passionate about as a survivor of domestic violence myself. And so, at the heart of every violent relationship is an incredible amount of fear. Fear is what ends up causing you to accept mistreatment. Fear is what allows you to put on the blinders to ignore the warning signs of a violent relationship. So, when it comes to my work with domestic violence and being able to influence, I think the most powerful tool that we all have is our story. And I encourage anyone, whether you're talking about an experience in an abusive relationship, or maybe if you went through an economic hardship, if we could just let go of the ego and say, this is something that I went through, it allows others to be freed from any sense of shame that they may have about what they've gone through, and then it frees them to empower themselves and then reach out to another person. we are only as limited as the stories that we tell ourselves about who we are. And so when you say it, when you put it out there, there's no more power to it. If I can stand up and say, yes, I was battered for 5 years, and I accept that it was something that happened, but it no longer defines me, well then you or anyone else that I might be afraid of who could look at me as less than because of that, you're rendered powerless. And really, it's my perspective about myself that's most important, because that's ultimately what's going to drive my actions in the world.
That's incredible. And you know what, you just made a point that I think is, social media actually, you know, there's been a lot of debate even here at the conference about whether social media is just, you know, too many people saying, I'm here, here I am, this is, you know, broadcasting what they are. But you speak to an important point, and I want to know what you think about social media being used as a tool to broadcast to the world, this is what I am, this is what I've gone through. I want to be validated as a person, despite or maybe even because of my struggles. How does that play in, do you think, for more serious struggles and topics like the ones you're dealing with domestic violence? How does social media play into that? Does it help? Is it a tool that you can use? Are victims kind of using that to reach out to each other in the world? I mean,
Well, I think specifically around domestic violence is that social media is a form to share our stories. In some cases anonymously, because you can't put yourself out there because your batterer may find you. It is important to be able to share those stories, but I do think that there is, we must not forget the importance of touch, of being able to connect one-on-one. And for those that are isolated, sometimes it's very easy to hide behind the screen and to adopt a persona, to create that distance. But part of recovery and healing is about being able to move towards. And so I think that in terms of sharing information, social media is fantastic. But I'm always a huge proponent for people coming together, like a conference today, and being able to interact one-on-one and to have those real conversations, like some of the great questions that we got from the audience. If that was typed in, would it have the same emotional resonance?
Exactly.
I don't know.
No. Well, it's interesting because we did receive so many tweets from people who were just enjoying what was being said, but we also got those tweets that said, boy, wish I was there, wish I was there. I mean, it's great that they can get online and do it, but I think we all want that interaction too. Just one last question. You've been through so much, you have so much to give and so much that you're doing. Who was the biggest influencer in your life at the time when you were going through those difficult domestic violence times? I mean, what influenced you to kind of move through that?
You know, when I think about the different challenges that I've faced in my life, of which domestic violence was but one, when I think about the ultimate influencer on my work today, with relationships, with women's empowerment, with writing and DV advocacy, it was Viktor Frankl and his book Man's Search for Meaning, and really that the idea that that it's up to us to change our perspective, so that and find that thing, that passion that drives us, so that we can we gotta reshoot that.
No, you're fine. Well.
No? Did I just script the whole thing?
No, there are no mistakes here. this is online media. It's okay. It's okay. But we're going to keep going because I think you were perfect.
Because I can't, because they're talking so loud.
Sorry. That's okay. No. But Viktor Frankl.
All right. So the greatest influence for me in my work today was Viktor Frankl's book Man's Search for Meaning, and what's powerful about that story is that he teaches the importance of us learning how to transcend our suffering and to create a greater life of meaning and purpose. And that idea of a purpose-driven life is at the cornerstone of everything that I do. I think that when people, influencers for instance, are people who have created a mission, discovered a mission and a passion, that they don't allow anyone to dissuade them from transmitting to the world, whether in whatever medium that is. And I think it's that courage, that ability to extend yourself, to put yourself out there, you know, and not really caring or just saying, you know what, I may not look cool.
Yeah.
People may think I'm crazy, but
Here
hey,
it is.
I'm doing me. Like
Yeah.
Eddie Huang has said, I got to dance my own dance.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
That's
what
an
we
important thing to do, and
That's
that
beautiful.
is a huge part of curing the crisis of fear. Is that it's freeing yourself
Right.
and also not defining yourself based upon where you've been,
Right.
but really looking at where you're at today. What's that thing that touches your soul, and then just moving, doing something.
it. Just doing it. That's incredible. That's a great note to actually leave on. So many people want to know how to be influencers. They're online, and thank you so much for, through your life, teaching us how to dance our own dance. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.